Hi everyone, this is Engineering with Brian, and I'll be talking to you about how to sketch in Onshape. Now, sketching is very important because it allows you to design whatever you want to make. And you do this by clicking the Sketch button in the top left-hand corner. And then it's going to ask you for a sketch plane. And in this video, we'll be focusing on the front, top, and right planes. You can create your own planes, but I'll be talking to you about that in a later video. So let's say I want to sketch on the top plane. I simply click on the top plane and I can begin sketching. But sketching like this will be a little bit difficult. So what I can do is right click on the top plane and click View Normal To. I can also click top on this cube in the top right hand corner to begin. So now let's begin sketching. The first way you can sketch is through lines, and this is quite self-explanatory. You simply click 2 points to form a line. The corner rectangle command and the center point rectangle command are also quite self-explanatory. You simply click 2 points to form the rectangle, like so. You can also create circles in Onshape through 3 points, or by clicking a center and a point on the outside of the circle. You can also make an ellipse by clicking the center, clicking a point on 2 points on the edge. You can also make arcs in Onshape by clicking a starting point, an end point, and adjusting the radius, like so. You can also create inscribed and circumscribed polygons. For an inscribed polygon, you make the circle and you adjust the amount of sides of your polygon. The circumscribed polygon is similar, like that. One of my favorite commands in the sketching part of Onshape is the Spline Command. And this command allows you to draw basically whatever you want. You simply click on points and it can make a very strange shape. But what this command is especially good for is when you import an image into Onshape. And instead of using lines and circles to recreate that image, you can use the Spline command. There's also the point command where you can add points along your design. There's the text command, which allows you to add letters. So I can type in whatever I want into this box and it allows me to put it into my design. The next command is the construction command. So normally when you use lines, they're used to form shapes. So if I have this shape and I confirm the sketch, it's going to look like this. And as you can see, it's simply one shape. Let's say I want to put a reference line in and I don't want to divide the shape into two. So if I create a line like so, I will be forming two different shapes, and I don't want that. So what I can do is I can click on this line and make it a construction line. I can also click on the line command and click on construction, and I can simply continuously draw construction lines like that. Another command is the trim command. So let's say I have this line that is poking over and I want to cut only this section off. Instead of adding a point, then deleting the extra section, I can use this trim command, like so, to get rid of some extra line segment. I can also use a command known as the extend command. So if I have a line like so, and I want it to touch here, but I only drew it to that point, I can use this extend command, click on the line, and then extend it so that it touches this line over here. The offset command is also pretty interesting. It offsets a line. So if I want to copy this line and dimension it, let's say 14.2 millimeters away, I can do that. And it creates two lines parallel that are 14.2 millimeters away from each other. And again, if I want to cut this little section off right here, I can use the trim command, like so. The mirror command is also quite self-explanatory. You select a mirror line, then you select the line you want to mirror, like so. The linear pattern line allows you to copy a segment multiple times without you having to redraw it many times. So let's say I want to copy this line segment right here. If I click on it, I can adjust the distance between these lines and how often they occur. So if I want 7 of these lines, I can make that happen. I can also use a circular pattern. So if I click on this line, I can make a circular pattern with that line around a radius, a center point that I can adjust. And I can also adjust how many times this line appears. And if I left click, you can see this circular pattern. This is the insert image command, or DXF. So if I wanted to insert an image, I can import one. And this is used for dimensioning. So I can make sure that all my dimensions are exact. So if I want this line to be 44 millimeters instead of 43.39094, I can make that happen. So the next thing we'll be talking about are the different constraints that you can add into your sketch. And the first one is the coincident constraint. So if I have a line and I want to make sure that this point touches this point, I can use this coincident constraint to make that happen. So essentially, the coincident constraint is making sure that one part of your sketch touches another part of your sketch. So if I wanted to draw a circle, I wanted the center point to be touching this point, I could use this coincident constraint to make that happen. So if I wanted two circles to have the same center, these two different circles have the same center, I could use the concentric constraint. And I do this by clicking on the circles, and there we go. The parallel constraint is very self-explanatory and simply makes two lines parallel, like so. The tangent constraint is also quite self-explanatory. So if I have a line in a circle and I want that line to only touch the circle in one point, I can use the tangent constraint. So referring to this outer circle, if I draw a line like so, and I only want it to touch at one point, I can use the tangent constraint like so to make that happen. And in this case, the circle shrunk. So what I can do is I can dimension the circle. Let's say I want it to be 109 millimeters in diameter. I can use the tangent constraint to shift the circle a little bit to make sure that happens. You can add a horizontal constraint by using this button right here. And this makes sure that two parts of your sketch are horizontally aligned. So if I want this center to be horizontally aligned with this point, I can do so like this. I can also make two things vertically constrained. So if I have another circle right here and I want it to be below this point, I can use this vertical constraint, like so. Another constraint you can add is the right angle constraint, or the perpendicular constraint. So if I have two lines like so, I can add the perpendicular constraint to make sure that there is a right angle. And you can even dimension this by clicking on the two lines and checking out if that angle is in fact 90 degrees. There is also the equal constraint. So if I have two lines like so, I want them both to be the same length. So if I want this one to be 100 millimeters and I want this line to also be 100 millimeters, I can use this equal command. So that this line right here will also be 100 millimeters. The midpoint constraint makes sure that a line or something touches another part of your sketch at its midpoint. So if I have this line over here and I want this line to touch this line right here at its midpoint, I can use this midpoint constraint. So there we go. So you click on the point and then you click on the line. So another example would be if I wanted to draw this line so that it touches the midpoint, which you can do like so by dragging the point along the line, I can use the midpoint constraint. So click the point, click the line, and there you go. And in fact, you could dimension this to check to make sure that it is indeed the midpoint, which it is. All right, that wraps up the basics of sketching in Onshape. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and if this helped you, leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.